welcome back to the next episode of the Stacking M's podcast. I'm Tara Payton, marketing consultant and business coach, and I am joined here by Alexus Roberts, my girlfriend. We are going to be talking about elevating your brand through product photography, right? So they, before we even started, they were just having a conversation about cameras, and I was just like, yo, I don't know nothing about this. My head was down here in my iPad. So I'm going to kick it over to you, right? Yeah. First, tell us who you are, how you got into product photography.
Yeah, so my name is Alexus Roberts, like you said. I own and operate a full creative service studio called TrellVision Studio, where we help brands basically tell their brand story through visuals with product photography, stop motion, animation, and graphic design. So I'm a woman with many talents. Mm-hmm. So I like to combine all of those things and all of my experiences with marketing into helping people create those visuals that really tell their brand story, mm-hmm. provide the clarity for their customers, and just all in general confidence, mm-hmm. Behind their brand.
So you mean to tell me I can't just get my product, take a picture, and put it on my website? You're talking about strategy. Mm-hmm. You're talking about, branding with that. Talk to me a little bit more about why those things are important when it comes to product photography.
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest, if wherever you are in your business, if you got to sit down with a picture with your camera and take a picture of your product and put it on a website, if that works, it works, mm-hmm. right? Like, do what works for your business right then and there. But if you're ready to elevate, if you're ready to get to that point where you really want that confidence in your brand, it's usually when people actually come to me, mm-hmm. Is when they realize that they're no longer at a point that what they're doing now doesn't work for them anymore, right? Like, it's not reaching the audience that they want. Maybe they increase their prices. Maybe they have taken a new brand design, and it just doesn't work anymore, right? So product photography would allow them to elevate their brand, right? To get to a place where they want to, get to better goals revenue-wise. And it's a better return on investment too, right? So, it's important, I believe, for product photography to invest in it, because it's an investment. I want to make that clear. It is an investment, because it's not something that, of course, like, anybody can take pictures, right?
Right.
Which is cool. Everybody can take pictures, but having the strategy behind it of who you are, who you're talking to, why, what colors would go with that, what kind of positioning would go with that, thinking about all the things of props and things like that nature. I take the strategy of where your content is and where you're trying to go, and who you're trying to talk to, So it's a combination of all of those things that kind of help you and elevate your brand to where you want to be.
So you mentioned return on investment, right? And as it pertains to investing in product photography, I don't think people associate getting a return on investment by investing into product photography. So they may think, okay, I'll invest in marketing, right? Or I'll run these ads. I can expect, or I want to expect a return on this investment, because nothing is really guaranteed. But when you think about the product photography standpoint, what types of return on investments are we talking about?
Yeah, so what we're talking about is, okay, so for instance, you hire a product photographer like myself to basically take photos for a specific reason, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be general, like, as far as for my website, for Instagram or whatever. Let's stay, you hire me to basically start new ads because you got a new design, right? There's a new product launch. Let's say that. There's a product launch that you have, and you want to launch it the best way you know how, because you put all this money into designing the label, putting the right ingredients or whatever it is. So with that, you're investing in someone to take all of those things that you've combined already, that you've already invested in, and basically put that in a visual that's compelling to whoever you're trying to reach, right? Because, you could take a picture yourself, right? But is it going to reach the audience that you want to? Or instead, hire a professional to that's that investment, right? Like hiring that professional to take that picture for you, to find all those elements that make your brand stand out, that make your brand capture who they want to capture to or who they want to talk to. So I feel like that's where it is, right? As far as your return on investment, because once you put it out there in that ad space, once you already put those investments into the design, the launch, the ingredients, whatever it is your product is, that visual, you put it everywhere, right? Digital space is big. Like literally anywhere that picture can go anywhere. We're talking more than social media platforms. We're talking even to, different third party platforms and things of that nature. So once that person sees that picture and they feel compelled to know who you are, what is this? That return on investment is almost triple, because now you have multiple people, multiple eyes on these images, multiple. And it's working for you continuously. It's not that it happens one time.
Got it.
Right? So there's not just one person, one time, no, we're talking millions of people looking at this from any and everywhere. So I see that as opportunity for that person to click buy, or to look more into you to see what exactly your brand provides or what it is, or do they relate to this product? Could they see this product in their lifestyle? How do I do that with this image so that I can capture more people to buy this product?
All right, a few questions popped up in my head. First question is, lifestyle or still product shots?
So there's you could get caught up in a lot of the terminology of there's different photography, concepts.
Give me the photography.
And things. I was about to say, So still life is, I would say, an umbrella, right? So like still life is this mic here, right? We're talking a plant here, we're talking the table or whatever. That's all still life, right? So under that umbrella, there's different types of photography. Product photography is usually just products that you would use in your, daily life. So, I mean, anything can be considered as a product. That's why product and still life are sort of the same. So that's why I say don't get too caught up in terminologies. But as far as like how you approach for the photography could be different by photographer, right? So more for me, I'm more of like conceptual, finding different things that will make the product stand out or how it would relate to the product, right? So for instance, this plant here, right? Would I put different greens behind it? Would I have it floating in the air because it represents some type of element of relaxation or elevation or something? If it was a succulent, how do I see how do I represent that longevity in different things? How do I put a little smoke behind it? It's all of these things, right? That's concept. You can also go into, there's multiple. So if I were to go list all of them.
No, this is getting deep.
It's getting really deep. Right. But there's also brand photography, right? Where it's just more about the brand and its colors and what it does and who it is, if it's fun, if it's playful, all of those things. It goes very, very deep.
So you said still photography, product photography, brand photography.
Yeah, there's also conceptual photography, lifestyle, and lifestyle could be us sitting right here with this plant in front of us and someone's trying to sell that plant.
Right.
Lifestyle.
So that's like the product placement type of photography.
Basically.
Okay, got it. I never knew it. I know it from a marketing standpoint, but I never understood it, or I guess put language to it from a photography standpoint.
Yeah.
Of course, because it's not my area of expertise. I ain't trying to learn
No.
it. But you just schooled me today, so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What's the lifespan of product shots?
Oof. Long.
Okay.
So I guess I'll break this down because I know this is it gets a little confusing sometimes, right? Because images are a lifetime. They last forever, right? So ultimately, the person that took the photo is the owner of the photo, right? And what photographers do is license out those images to clients, so they're able to use those photos. So these images, think of it as, when we're talking about return on investment, these images last forever and ever and over. There's no way to, you could delete them, right? That's about the only thing. But with people like myself, there's a backup to my backup.
So you got the server somewhere else.
Right. So imagine one image being done one time, and you're able to use it over and over and over and over again because it still represents your brand. So in most cases, most photographers will license out their images for maybe 2 years, a year, because sometimes brands do change, you know? So they're like, oh, this image doesn't, go with what I want right now. I'm changing over. People change their brand every 2 years or so. People change their mind. So there's a longevity to it. There is.
So what happens at, say, the 2-year mark and a brand is not ready to rebrand, or they're not even interested in it? Would you continue to license it to them?
Oh, yeah.
Photography? Okay.
Yeah. So they could actually license that photo for a longer period of time, which I've had people do that, where they're like, hey, this photo still works for me, works for my brand. I want to go ahead and pay for the license to use it over. Definitely look up copywriting, because that's that's a big thing when it comes to photography and learning about how copyright works. And how it works is basically that person who took the photo, like I said, owns the image, and that's how they license out to, businesses. So I always say, at least a year or two to get at least that amount a year, because you never know if you're not ready to rebrand. These images are working for you. You've made money off of it. Why not, don't fix what is not broken, right? So definitely with that, is a good thing to do at least 1 or 2 years to own those, or to license those image out.
So with the shift that we've recently experienced with the pandemic, has there been more of a need for professional photography online? And do you feel like more people are reaching out to you now versus pre-pandemic to get product photography shot?
Okay. Yeah. So I would say that, I transitioned into product photography just a year ago, right? And since I had gotten more business than I did when I was just doing portrait photography.
You were doing portraits? What else?
I was doing portraits, brand, which is just doing personal brand photography, graduations, birthday shoots, all of those things that photographers usually do. I stopped doing events a long time ago, weddings a long time ago, but all the things to make money, right? And I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do with photography. I was kind of in this space where I know how to do a lot of things. I just don't know what exactly to put it into or niche it down to. So as soon as I realized there was sort of a need, and when we had the whole pandemic, right? We were all on our phones. We're just online all the time. And I found myself buying things, more things, even during
was putting the stuff in the cart. Girl, my phone was somewhere else.
I was putting things in the cart. I was like, why am I, doing this? I'm not sure. But I realized that it was the images or the brand, the visuals and things like that. And then I realized I wanted to explore more things than just what I was doing, right? I found more creativity in the product photography realm. I found that I could do more. I was more of a creative director. And I always saw myself as a creative director, especially in school. That was where I wanted to go. That was my passion. And the way that I was able to do that is through product photography. And so once that passion grew and I started to build my portfolio, personal projects, just doing things for fun, and that was the most thing. It was fun. Yeah. It was fun. And one thing I want to do is continue to do things that is fun to me. Yeah. So once I realized that was where I wanted to, focus in on, as far as leads started to come in, it just overflowed. And I'm like, okay, all right, this is where I need to be, There was a need.
So you got very specific on who you wanted to serve.
Exactly.
Right? You got really clear on who your target customer was.
Yes.
And then the floodgates just opened.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay. And mostly it was women-owned businesses, Black women-owned businesses who were starting up in the pandemic. A lot of people, I don't know what happened, but everybody wanted to be.
I feel like a lot of people went full-time
entrepreneur
or went hard during the pandemic.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And it was needed that it was the digital visuals that they needed. Mm-hmm. They needed to have these things so they could sell. Mm-hmm. You know, they didn't realize it before. And I think it's a new thing, right? Like, I feel like realizing what people are good at and being niched in, like, mm-hmm. oh, people actually do this? Like, mm-hmm. this is something people do? People do product photography and that's it?
Right.
Okay. And then, you know, I seen a lot of other women too who were photographers started to branch into that and started to niche down and things mm-hmm. of that nature, because become more of an expert when you mm-hmm. niche down, you mm-hmm. know? People take you more seriously when you niche down. They're like, oh, I want to go to this person,
right?
Because this person knows.
Specific, they yes. focus on product photography. Yes. Like, that's their thing. They do it day in, day out.
Yep.
You eat, sleep, breathe, right? That's yep. the thing.
And there's nothing wrong with that, too.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with sticking to one thing. Because if you want to, you can always change later if you want to. If it doesn't work.
True.
But it's always good to be very specific in what you do. Mm-hmm. Because then you can provide to those specific people. You know, people mm-hmm. are looking for you. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's how I saw that. And it grew from there, mm-hmm. Legit grew from there. And I was able to build a business, go full time, mm-hmm. And be able to just showcase more of my talents, you know, mm-hmm. through product photography. So, yeah.
So what are some things that people need to have prepared before they come to a product photographer?
Yeah. So definitely make sure you know what your brand is. Mm-hmm. Who they talk to, mm-hmm. making sure that you solidify the product that you're selling. Because a lot of people come to me, oh, I have this new body lotion, but I ain't sure on the ingredients yet, but it'll launch next February. I can't do anything with that, right. You know? So I always say make sure that your products are together. Make sure that whatever labels or whatever it comes in, whatever it is, that's solidified. Mm-hmm. Making sure that you have the budget and the marketing. Like, you have to have a marketing budget. Because there's no way.
Do you say product photography fits within the marketing budget?
Oh, for sure.
Or should it be its own budget?
Oh, for sure. It can fit within a market. And I say that because it's a whole thing, right? Because mm-hmm. I'm not your content strategist. I'm mm-hmm. not your social media manager. I'm not, you know, those are all things that I say become in a marketing budget, right? Mm-hmm. To market your product, you definitely want to have a budget for it. Mm-hmm. Now, that's like, as far as a part of the marketing budget is what I mean. Like, as far as what it mm-hmm. is, a part of that marketing budget, you want to make sure you have some money set aside, especially if you because you could find product photographers for a lower end rate, but if you want some really quality and someone that's been there for a couple of years, someone that's, you know, had their a very specialty and expertise in this, I definitely recommend, you know, making sure that you have the money to save for it or the money to invest into it, because it could get pricey, you know. It's a lot of images you have to prepare for and things that you have to do. So when it comes to product photography, it's not cheap. It's not cheap, but definitely when your brand is there, you know, definitely be able to do that. But I would also say just make sure that you know who you're talking to, who your audience is, because it's not the photographer's job to figure out who your audience is. Correct. What your brand is, what it's about, what colors you should do or whatever. I don't know your brand. You got to tell me, you know? So getting that kind of stuff is what questions I ask to kind of get to the nitty gritty of things, but definitely making sure you have budget, your brand together, your products are together. But yeah, I would say that.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever taken a picture of?
The weirdest thing. I wouldn't say it was weird, but it was interesting.
Okay.
A vibrator.
Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Was it like one of those incognito vibrators, or was it like a blatant "I'm a vibrator"?
It's like one of those small travel size vibrators. Okay. So it was very small. So like when you kind of like put in your bag, you're like, if I have time, kind of thing. Yeah.
Not if I have time.
If I have time,
you have time. That's why you got it in your bag. Okay, you gonna make time.
Basically, okay. But that was the most interesting. I won't say it was weird. It was just interesting. Because I'm like, how do I make this appealing? How do I make this like people want to buy this?
Okay, tell me what. Okay, creative direct. Like, what was the outcome?
It was good.
Like, tell me what was in the
I made a
image.
reel about it and it went viral. So
of course, sex sells. Like literally.
Yeah.
Okay. But what was in the picture? You're going to have to send me this. I need to see
it. In the picture, so at first I was trying to make it look like almost like a nighttime sensual thing, but nothing too like vulgar. You know, with like vibrator sometimes it's sometimes vulgar, or when you think of sex it's always vulgar and all that kind of stuff. So you want more sensual. The brand was more of like for the independent woman who just wants to please themselves, you know, on their own time kind of thing. And so I was like, okay, well, how do I go about that? How do I do it in a way where it's not too much, where it's like, I know it's a vibrator, but this is actually kind of nice, you know, more elegance to it. So I used like this fabric. It was like a pink. So the actual vibrator was like a light lavender kind of top, and it was a white bottom, whatever. And then I used like a pink fabric to kind of like represent like a vulva a little bit. So I kind of like made it kind of go around, almost like rose-like, kind of vulva-like. So I kind of like just moved it around kind of like in between it so that it kind of resembled.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
So, okay. I get it. I hope y'all got it.
Right. I was like, you know, try to do that. And then, you know, added some little shimmer of pink, you know, little light source coming down to make it look like nighttime a little bit. Yeah. It was interesting.
It sounds like it was a vibe. I mean, that's why it went viral, right?
Yeah, it was a vibe though. And the way that I did it, you would have been like, how did she get that through that?
Right. I love that. All right, what is the one thing that you did not like to photograph?
That's a good question. Something I don't like to photograph. I think stationary things like books or like planners. Like it wasn't like I don't like it. It was just, I think it was more challenging to make it compelling.
Got it.
Without it having like a lifestyle behind it. I think that was pretty the most like uninteresting, kind of like ordinary, but it wasn't like a dislike. It was just more of like, okay, like this is.
It just kind of like.
Yeah.
Okay. There wasn't really much to be creative about.
There you go.
Did the brand not give you that direction to be creative?
I would say both. It was more of like, I just need something to just, you know, here. Like, I don't need nothing too creative. I couldn't like, you know, dig into my creative bag and was like, yes, I want to make it float and I want to da-da-da. Yeah.
You know, something behind it with the lighting. Okay.
It was kind of just like, this is what we need. This is who we are. Boom. I'm like, all right, cool. But if that works for that person, then so be it. You know, everything goes based off of their branding. Like I said, you listen to who they are, who they're talking to, what they want. And who knows it better than you, the person, you know, selling the thing.
So what are the top 3 things that people should be looking for when they are planning to hire a product photographer? Let's say for the first time, or let's say like they've been burnt by a product photographer because their cousin Pookie took the pictures, and he put the little marbles next to the product with the fuzzy blanket behind it, right?
Yeah.
So, what are the 3 things that they should be looking for in a product photographer?
Yeah, so I actually covered this too. One, I would say, look at their portfolio. Make sure that you're going on their website, and make sure they have a website.
And make sure they're not asking you to pay them with Zelle and Venmo
or Cash App.
Okay.
No hate. If you
we ain't trying to stop nobody coinage. You know what?
Listen. Hustle if you gotta hustle. I'm saying, but I would, if you're trying to hire a professional, I'm just saying, the ones that I come across, they all have the same things, and usually that's a portfolio or a website to showcase their work, to really show what they can do, what products they worked with. Even if they haven't worked with your specific product, you can kind of see what their eye is like, you know, just see what they can kind of accomplish, you know. So I would definitely make sure that you agree with what they can do with their portfolio. Second, see if they're actually good people, you know, like check out their vibe, you know, making sure that that person is someone you want to work with. I know with Instagram, I show a lot of my personality, and a lot of the people that I've gotten as far as leads are like, you just look like somebody I would really want to work with. Like you just look.
She is.
Thank you. No, but that's me trying to let people know that, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. And I really love this. this is how I do things. Take a look at their process. You know, I show a little bit of my behind the scenes, showing how I create things. Maybe in my stories, I'll take people on a journey of how do I go through my creative direction. Look at those things. Like, that's important. Like, you want to see how they come about these things. If they have some type of personality and that's what you look for, then so be it. And I would definitely look at how, I would definitely look and see if they're within your budget, right? Like making sure if they have a discovery call, making sure it's within what your means are. But yeah, just making sure that they, as far as portfolio, they can do what they what you're looking for. 2, if there's someone that you can actually relate with. And then 3, just making sure that, they're within what you can actually, afford.
What's a range? What's a price range for product photography?
If I would say a little bit more on the professional side, if I would say if you're not dealing with Pookie and them kind of thing, because, there's Fiverr, there's all these other sources, but I would definitely say in the 4-figure range. I would definitely say that. I don't want to, everybody's on different, spectrums and everything, but expect at least 4 figures to more. And we're looking at, as far as for where I am, is $2,500 to start off. Okay. As far as my pricing.
That's the baseline.
Yeah, that's the baseline for me. So going forward, it can only go up from there. So,
and if you're watching this a few years from now, it's probably $5,000.
That part.
Yep.
Call it into existence, sis.
Absolutely.
Yes, manifest. No, seriously, as far as where that starts, I would definitely look into the 4-figure range, and expect that, if anything.
Now, I want to kind of talk about something a little different, but it's along the lines of what you do, right? You're taking the product photography or the photos of people's products. I want to hear from you. What do you think about this whole NFT craze and how can brands kind of incorporate that or start to think about incorporating that into their business?
It's actually interesting that you asked that because my partner and I are actually trying to get into the NFT space. With the illustrations. Yes. Shout out to Hank. He's actually an illustrator, and he has these characters called fuzzies, and they're so cute. I love them so much. And so we're actually learning a little bit more about what NFT is, how we go about it, because it's such a unfamiliar space, but it's so cool and interesting because a lot of it is about branding.
Yes.
A lot of it is about branding, and it's also what you connect to, what the audience connect to. You see all these stars and everything now are getting on board with it. I think it's really important to try to collaborate with people at this time, when it comes to NFTs. How does your product involve with, a star or whoever, or maybe an influencer? It don't have to be a celebrity, but an influencer or whoever, using that to your capability when it comes to this. Now, as far as from a product photography stance with NFT, I haven't explored it. Okay. I won't say that I explored of how that works. I would say that's more on the actual creative side, like the actual product photographer, or the person that's creating the art. I would say that as far as NFT space, I think it values more of that. But you can learn a lot from it when it comes to the branding side. People have to really connect with that artist or that music because right now it's big on music and art. I think when people feel more connected to these things, that's when they want to invest a little bit more into it, right? So then you go into the NFT space of buying these things that feel more connected to it. So that's as much as I can talk about it. Okay. But as far as for product-based brands and things like that, you see Nike about to jump into it, right? Nike's about to, I think, own some real estate in the metaverse, that type of stuff.
I'm not versed in the metaverse at all. My husband is, so we got to sit and have a conversation. Oh, yeah,
for sure.
Because it's
for sure. Because we probably need to talk to him because it is definitely a whole nother space, a whole nother thing that we have to get used to soon, but which I'm not against it. I'm not against it, especially if the artist can make money off of it, because for a long time people looked down on artists and basically thought that maybe artists are supposed to be starving or they're not supposed to make money out, they're not supposed to be, making a certain type of money. Like as far as for product photography, a lot of people feel as though it's not something that you would spend money on or invest in or anything like that. So it is good. I think the world is turning on to like how artists are so important to us.
And shout out to Idol. One of my mentees and good friends, John V. a lot. This is a shameless plug for him. I didn't even know we was going here. But he actually launched a brand that focuses on helping independent artists get their art out through NFTs.
Really?
So it's Idol, IDYLL.com, I believe. Y'all check him out. Sign up for the NFT. He is well versed in that space. He tried to break it down to me too, and I was like, "You want this marketing strategy or
right?"
Because I was like, "Oh,
it's all I can give you, bro.
It's
all I
can give you,
strategy,
right?"
Yeah.
But that is so important. Like artists are very, very important to the culture, and they often get the short end of the stick, and that's his whole thing about why he launched Idol and stuff.
I'm gonna have to check him out.
So yeah, I'm gonna plug you on that.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
All right. So, what's your biggest lesson in entrepreneurship thus far?
Learning how to accept rejection and learning how to say no.
Talk a bit more about that. Both of them.
Yeah, so I would say with rejection, I say as far as what happened to me, and this is crazy that happened to me, but recently someone told me that because of where I do my art, or that because he or she did not feel, I don't want to say she, but he or she did not feel though I was at a certain place or did not look like or compare to other, product photographers, that my price was invalid and that my price didn't make sense, right? So it was a sort of a rejection, right? Like, and it hit home and I was like, wow, like I thought I was good, my work is good. That's how I feel about it. I don't know what you're talking about. But then I went in my corner and I was like, why would she say that? Right. But I think it was a realization for me that this is all not peaches and cream. This is not like ice cream and sprinkles. And, that this is the part of entrepreneurship that nobody talks about, that you deal with, And I thought, because seeing other people, just be flourishing and, have all these things and these clients and all kind of stuff. I'm like, they probably never deal with this, but they do. They might not show it, but they do. Right. And I had to learn how that felt and deal with it. And also not take things personal because it's not about you. It's about the business. And most times people are projecting. So that was one thing that it was a big lesson for me. And I was like, okay, I'm not used to being rejected. I'm not used to people saying this type of things to me. But you kind of have to grow through that, right? And then saying no a lot. Saying no a lot. When people ask you, like, I know you do product photography, but can you do my graduation pictures? Can you do my wedding? Oh, I need somebody for da-da-da-da. No. No, absolutely not. I can't do that for you. And then also if people are like, hey, well, can you do it for just, $250? My bills ain't even $250. No. Right. I can't do that for you. The thing is like that saying the word no was very hard for me. I think because I wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to saying, I was always a people pleaser. I'm like, yeah, I can do this for you. Yeah, no problem. I got you, And also being a hustler, I'm like, side gigs. I'm trying to get money. You know what I'm saying? Especially, 7 years back, I definitely was doing that a lot. Like, okay, I could do this for you. Yeah, no problem. 200, no problem. I was doing that to make ends meet, which is okay. But when I got to be specific in what I want to do, who I want to serve, and what I want to do, and things like that nature, and what I want from my life, my lifestyle, no became so much easier. And I had to learn that it's okay to say no.
What helped you learn that?
I think when I took a yes, when I said yes to something and it overwhelmed me, I couldn't be creative. My mind wasn't there. I got frustrated so much. I was like, it was always like, I guess I was analyzing how I was feeling. during that time that I like said yes to something that I really didn't want to. I analyzed how I felt, and I was like, I don't like feeling like this. I don't like feeling like I'm overwhelmed, stressed out, frustrated. This is not what I want to do. I'm just doing it for the money. I didn't want to be like that. So I think once I said that first no to someone, I was like, oh, okay. We made progress, you know? Granted, it doesn't feel that way because you're like, I'm turning down money or I'm turning down the opportunity. But when things don't flow or you're feeling some type of way or it's not going to be what you think it is, it's okay. Like, it's okay to say no if you feel like it's just not going to work for you.
Right.
Because, I mean, even though it's business is business and personal is personal, but sometimes they can intertwine as an entrepreneur sometimes, you know? And so you have to know where you are and what you can deal with and when it's time to really just say no. Yeah.
All right, so I feel like this is a good time for this question. So I asked all my guests to rate on a scale of 1 to 10, marketing, money, and mindset. So where are you on your marketing, your money, and your mindset? Okay?
Okay.
So first, marketing.
Marketing for my personal business, I would say where I am rating wise, because I've been taking a break off of social media a little bit. As far as that, I would say I'm at like a 7.
Okay.
Is this scaled on 1 to 10?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say a 7. I think I could do a little bit more.
Okay. What about your money?
Money, because I have some retainers. They're taking care of the bills. I would say I'm in a good place, but I could definitely also do better. So I would say maybe like a 6. Okay. I'll put it like right behind. Yeah.
And then what about your mindset?
Mindset is getting better. I definitely feel like because of all the things of the rejections and no's and all kind of stuff, I learned a lot from this year and last year as far as conducting business and how to do things. I would say my mindset, that's a good question. Because I feel like it's in between that 6 and 7 range. I feel like I'm still growing and I still have a lot to learn, which I am always like, I'm always really big on like, you know, looking at my mistakes and being like, okay, I learned this, I learned that. Okay, I made a mistake here. Okay, what can I do next time?
So you're very self-aware.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I know when I'm wrong for some reason, but then I know when I'm really right. The Virgo thing. But
Virgo?
Oh yes,
that's why we get along. One of my best friends is Virgo.
I think we talked about this.
We did. Okay.
Yes,
sorry,
we
guys.
did.
All right.
No, but like that's a thing. Like I don't know if it's a Virgo thing, but I think it is knowing my imperfections and no one can count it. Like no one can point them out more than I can, kind of thing, except for Hank. He's about the only person. But other than that, like I'm very aware of what I have done wrong, and I can be okay with that. Hey, I need to learn from this, and it's okay that I'm still learning. Because I feel like a wise man knows nothing. Like they will continue to learn and learn as they go. So I would feel like my mindset is between that 6 and 7 range because I feel like I'm not an exact 10, but I feel like I'm pushing my way there.
So you like a 6.5?
Yeah, I'll say 6.5, 6.5.
Okay.
I'll say, but I feel like a 7 too.
So give me a number.
Okay. I'm gonna go with a solid 7. I'm gonna go with a solid 7. I'm gonna say 7 is probably my number I feel good about saying 7 for all of them, to be honest. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay, so what do you need to get your marketing from a 7 to a 9 or a 10?
I would definitely say as far as marketing wise, I would say finding the right people. Because I keep running into like people that I'm like, this doesn't work.
Who are you looking for? Are you looking for strategists, content managers? Like, who are you looking for?
Now that I'm in a different space of like, okay, I can't serve these people, who I'm looking for are more like agencies to hire out like talent or if they're looking for smaller, creative studios to handle certain things. I would definitely say that. I would definitely say bigger as far as brands, but not necessarily like in a way that it's worldwide known, but they're enough to where maybe they have a shelf in Target, Or maybe they are a growing brand and they're probably have a lot of followers, have a lot of growth and things of that nature. So I would definitely say a bigger brand in that case. And usually they're always women-owned brands, which I'm okay with. I feel like being a woman myself, I can relate, you know, being feminine and things of that nature. So I definitely would say attracting more of those bigger brands, the agencies, anyone that's recruiting talent for certain projects and things of that nature, I would definitely want to be on their radar, which I'm learning it's more on the LinkedIn space.
Girl, LinkedIn is about to get this work.
Okay.
We talked about that.
Did you really?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
LinkedIn is about to get
It's
this
not on.
work.
It's not to say that Instagram isn't there, but like, I don't know what it is. I think it's just there's too many people on Instagram that everybody, you know, you get almost everybody and you want like specifics. So I think maybe hyping up that LinkedIn, you know, strategy or something in that realm. I think I would need to work on that, which I have been in the talks of trying to figure out how.
So you're really looking into diversifying the channels that you're marketing on.
Yes,
okay.
Definitely.
Got it.
And my website doing a lot more too. Granted, I do pretty good as far as getting like people to browse and going to the actual links and things of that nature. So working on my SEO, making sure, which I think got Google My Business. I think I just got certified for that or something.
Okay,
like
girl.
it just.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's like when you know how you Google your business.
No, I know.
And
I know.
okay, I was gonna say it like I just had that, you know, set up. So I was like, oh, good. Okay, I'm on there. People can see me, things like that. So I think it's just finding ways to kind of like when people search me or looking for certain things that I pop up. So finding how to do that, you know, and working my way through that. Doing things like this, like podcasts, collaborating with people. I think that's more of where I want to go. And also just being able to share my, you know, my knowledge of things. But yeah, I think that I could do a little bit more. And that's why I say I feel like that 7 fits. Because I feel like I'm doing enough, but not enough.
But you're transitioning a little bit, so you got to transition the strategy.
Exactly.
So what about the money? What's going to get you from a 7 to a 9 or a 10?
I would say finding those people and also putting myself on more retainers. Retainers is where it's at. It's just more of finding longevity in that money, like as far as not just like a one-time thing, but more of like, okay, how can we make this a partnership? How can we collaborate so that I can continue to do this work for you?
Got it.
So that I could partner, which I consider myself a creative partner versus just somebody you hire just to kind of like whatever. I keep up with people. I'm like, hey, how's business going? What are we doing? What's the new launch? What's the new brand? You know, what we're doing. So I like to make myself that creative partner for people so that they're looking for somebody or they want somebody on their team to kind of be like, hey, I can help, you know, I can go grab Alexus real quick. Hey, we got a new product. Can you take pictures for us? No problem. Let's go. Let's get it. You know, that type of thing. So I think what I need is a little bit more of those people so that I can create that money to be a little bit longer as far as in that case. Right now, it's only a few and I just need a little bit more so I can feel good.
Right. And then what about the mindset? What'll get you to a 9 or a 10?
Well, I'm currently in therapy.
Good. Since we talked.
We did.
Yeah. That was a couple weeks ago. Okay, I'm proud
I
of
was like, you know what? Let me get myself together. After I talked, it inspired me, and I was like, okay, I've been saying this, and I also been, me and my mom have talked about it. Me and Hank, my partner, have talked about it. And I was like, I keep talking about it, but I ain't doing it, you know? So I was like, let me get my mindset together. And granted that it's a mindset, we're talking about business, but also I feel like personal, yes. You gotta be okay. You gotta be good. So I did start therapy, and it's been good. It's been working for me.
So you found a good therapist.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
it was
good.
the first try, which I was like.
Usually the case, right? The first try, so I'm happy for you to hear that. Yes,
it's usually not. And I love her. We've been chatting it up. We've been good. So that, and I would also say reading a lot more books around business and being comfortable with where I am, and my growing stages, you know? So I feel like that's where I'm at right now as far as that mindset.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I love this for you.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you so much, Alexus, for joining us. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all caught the gems as well. And if you are ready or considering working with a product photographer, Alexus is the only recommendation.
TrellVision Studio.
Where can the people find you?
Yes, so TrellVisionStudio.com and also at TrellVision Studio on Instagram. I think I'm on Facebook. And when it comes to LinkedIn, it's Alexus Roberts. So yeah, that's where I am right now, TrellVision Studio. Make sure you go check me out.
Awesome. Thank you. And
thank
see
you, Tara.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
So thank you, y'all, and we will see y'all on the next episode. So 69% of people are going to leave when they come to your site and your products are out of stock. They're not going to shop with your brand.